I'm Avital.
I'm Jason.
This is my husband and game master.
Hello, friends. Welcome again. We're here for RPG Storytime, speaking about Rasha Sharav and the Chronicles of Naboria, and Avital's adventures through them.
Alright, I just have to change. Did I not change the category? I forgot to change the category. It's still in Minecraft, so I have to change it. My bad. That was Monday.
We hope you all are having a good week, any of you who are tuning in, and if you're not tuning in, please do. Although I guess you're not hearing that since you're not tuning in.
Okay. Today is Tuesday, right?
Yep. It is the Tuesday.
The day of the twos.
What does it mean?
It's I don't remember what Tuesday means.
Oh well, whatever. There's a reason. There's history behind it. It's there. It exists. I just don't remember right now.
Why is Tuesday called Tuesday? T-I-U. Tier.
Oh, Tyr. Tyr's Day.
T-I-U, the Anglo-Saxon name for Tyr, the Norse god of war.
Yeah.
One of the sons of Odin, or Woden.
Yep.
You
Thor's brother for Thursday. Thor's Day.
So,
Tyr's Day.
Tyr gets...
Thor's Day.
Yeah. We get Moon Day.
Right. Sunday.
Sunday.
Which is pretty obvious.
Sunday, Moon Day, Tyr's Day, Woden's Day, Thor's Day. Is Friday Freya?
I think so.
Freya's Day.
Or Frigg.
Oh, Frig.
Frigg's Day.
That's Saturday.
Saturn, actually.
Saturn.
It's Roman in...
What is that? What is...
Roman.
No, what is Saturn?
It's a planet.
No. What is the god of?
Saturn is Uranus.
What is Saturn the god of? The god of sowing or seed.
Yeah. Saturnalia.
Oh, right. Okay.
Right.
That makes more sense.
Mm-hmm.
That makes more sense.
Yeah, my brain just wasn't going there. So it's like, mostly Nordic, but a little bit of Roman. And that's where you get English days. Because we co-opt everything. So hello, everyone.
No one here, it's fine.
Well, we begin where we left off last time. Rasha is on a boat on her way to Riyadh, which is her home.
Yes.
After the Festival of Destino in
That's right.
Cortenegro.
Cortenegro, which I don't remember a lot of, but...
The former kingdom of Ilmergo, which had been taken over by Catalima not that long ago. Its ruler is High Father Salazar the Sinful, and he miraculously produced a cathedral.
Out of, nowhere?
Yeah.
Wow.
There's a reason for it. It's really funny, actually, but I'm not going to tell you because you don't know. Maybe we'll do it on another thing.
The campaign is over!
Okay, so there's a reason for it. Because, he was pulling cards from a deck of many things with a lich one night.
He was pulling cards from a deck of many things with a lich.
Yeah, and he ended up getting the keep. He set a number of cards and he pulled that many. He actually got decent cards. He rolled for him randomly.
Sure, yeah.
Because the lich is also a Morrigan, and the Morrigans are very machismo, and so they were testing each other's bravado, and then it just went to a crazy place, and you end up with a keep sometimes. And followers.
All right.
The things that happened that I'm not upset about at all because it made sense in the story.
No, it's good. Fine. Anyways, we make it back to Riyadh.
You do.
Without getting attacked by pirates, even though they pulled up. But it was a pirate that Rasha knew.
Hey, let him go. Yeah, you guys get there, and
So-
what do you do?
Rasha gets back to Riyadh. It's been a bit. Not like a super, super long time, but...
It's been many months at this point in
Sure,
time.
it has been several
Like
months.
maybe 6 to 7 months. You've been gone for a while.
And so Rasha goes back to talk to the Sultan.
Mm-hmm.
And she tells him about the coming invasion of the Illithid.
Because you have discovered that since.
Because, yes, we've learned the information.
About...
Who made the books?
That was Reading.
Reading made books with as much information as we currently knew about the Illithid and gave copies of them to his friends.
And that was about 7 months ago.
About 7 months ago. So Rasha has one of those books, so she can show it to the people there. She has to keep the book, but she'll be like, here's this book. If you want to make copies of it or something, you totally can.
Yeah, to the Sultan.
To the Sultan, right. So she goes and talks to the Sultan, tells him about this really horrible, awful thing that's going to be happening. It's coming soon. At this point, how far away is it?
It is...
He's counting.
19 months.
A month.
So
Less
a
than-
little over a year, but less than 2. Not more than little. Like about a year and a half.
Yeah.
A little more than a year and a half.
A little more than a year and a half before the Illithid are coming. And so the Sultan hears about this. And, I mean, it's difficult for people to grasp, especially people that don't necessarily have knowledge of some of these things.
Or experience.
Or
They're just like,
experience.
yeah.
But
Whatever
he does
crazy person.
understand. He believes Rasha, right? He
Right.
trusts her.
Because
And
you have a history.
Yeah, we have a history. We've worked together. I worked for him for a long time. He did release me from that a bit ago.
Especially with the aid that you gave him off fighting off Draylock Razim
That's
and
right.
the armies of the Ifrit.
He even if he doesn't necessarily understand exactly everything that she is saying, he believes her and understands like the urgency and that she explains to him, like about how big of it. Even though she doesn't exactly understand it, but the urgency and importance and danger of it has been impressed on her very much.
And I believe it was just the Sultan you were talking with at this time, right?
Oh, thank you so much for subscribing. Oh my gosh.
Oh, hey! Thank you, Rocket Metal. We know who you are.
We do?
Yes, we do. We'll say it later, because
Okay.
we're on a stream.
Okay. Sorry, that was surprising.
That is our friends with the cubes! Downstairs.
Oh! Oh, that's so nice.
Thank you.
You get a special badge because you're one of the first 10 people to subscribe. Anyways,
Okay.
sorry, I get distracted. Right, Illithid. So, the Sultan of Riyadh hears about this, and he says, well, if this is such a big issue, then I think there is something that you need to have. It is time that you have this. And he sends someone to go retrieve something. Grins. Oh, good. Now I don't have to message on a separate platform. Yeah. That's right. See, look, special badge.
Cool.
First.
Very cool. Very cool. Thank you.
There's still 7 spots left.
So the Sultan goes to retrieve what?
Someone brings back a sword.
A very particular
A very
sword.
particular, very special sword.
Something that Rasha is somewhat familiar with.
Yes. The sword is called the Desert Wind. And out of character, it is a legendary item, a legendary sword.
It's one of the weapons of legend.
And Rasha retrieved this from some kind of monster.
The Medusa.
Medusa. She convinced it.
I think you guys
No.
defeated it.
No, we defeated him. It wasn't. Medusa didn't have it. I convinced someone
Oh,
put
that's
silver
right.
tongue on me, and I convinced them
yes.
to give it to me because I was supposed to have it because I had the same name as it.
Correct. That was, yes, you're right.
Which foreshadowing, like, I didn't.
Right.
Anyways.
Hi.
Foreshadowing.
Pro GM tip. Foreshadow your moves. Players won't always notice.
I did not. I made the character and I gave her her name was Rasha Sharav, and Sharav is what Mark Greyhound used to be named, and it's Arabic for desert wind. And I thought that would be appropriate because she was a scout and she was fast, and also like, I miss my doggy, our dog. Snickers.
And it's great when a player has no idea that they're playing right into a story that you already have in the game, and you can just whoop.
You can just scoot
Put
them
them right
in.
into it. It's wonderful.
So, the Sultan brings out the sword and says, "You need to have this.
It is time.
It is time." The Sultan.
Well, anybody that's not
All
a
the
player character
NPCs,
is really...
yeah. And then he tells her that she has to train about how to use this sword.
It is a scimitar. So,
what does he tell her?
The Sultan tells her that she must train with Azita Haka.
And by the way, oops, it's fine. We're obviously, keep talking, we're in Ramadan.
And that with this sword, he will teach her the ways and methods to use it best and show her its power.
See, from this way, I can't, like, select.
You can. Go to slide. And then hit Riyadh.
Yeah, we're in Riyadh. Anyways.
The Sultan also states that she must take a dangerous journey to Muad'Dib, a city not known to be hostile to Riyadh, but also not known to be allied.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, she can find a guide that will take her to the Temple of the Sky.
Yes.
Where she can then find Azita Haka.
So see, you can see Riyadh is here, Muad'Dib is here, and it's across the desert. And so the Sultan gives her a name of someone to look for who will. Does he say the Temple of the Sky, or does he give her the name of Azita Haka?
He would say the Temple of the Sky too.
Yeah.
He would say that's where you're going, because you need to
right.
tell
going
the
to
guide and the person you're looking for and where you're going. And
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you remember the name of the person I was looking for
Nope.
in Muad'Dib? No,
not at all.
That's okay. So Rasha spends some number of weeks traveling across the desert.
It's probably like Ibrahim or something like that.
Maybe.
I don't remember.
But
it's what it is now. Ibrahim.
So she travels across the desert literally just by herself because she can do that easily because she's a scout and like she's trained for that.
Yep.
Right? She knows how to do that.
It's your home.
It's my home. Desert is the thing. That's not what I want to do.
Nope.
Nope. All right. So then we get to Muad'Dib, which is, unlike her hometown of Riyadh, it's a not a good city in alignment per se. It's neutral evil, and it has.
And again, I found a beautiful picture of like this is exactly what I imagined in like a desert city that just sprawls, and in the center has this giant black palace temple thing.
Mm-hmm. Big black palace temple thing.
We come back to that later.
Much later. Quite a lot later. So Rasha is looking for a person that she doesn't know who they are. And she spends...
But you do know that they're a guide, that they're
Yeah, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. Like
No, but it gives
she's
you an
looking
idea.
for someone that's guiding her. And she's wandering around like probably basically like a whole day. And nothing is happening. She's not finding really people aren't that helpful. They're not that nice here. They just really aren't. Not that she doesn't know how to handle mean people, but like she's just like ugh.
And it's not that everyone here is mean, it's just their demeanor is more gruff.
More harsh.
And yeah.
Need to do something.
They're like, I got my life, I gotta go for it, I got my life I gotta deal with, whatever. You deal with your own stuff. You know, if you don't know, I don't have the time to tell you.
Rocket Metal says, need to do some roof hopping in that place. I'm like, right?
Yep.
We're going like Aladdin up in this
It's one of the places to do it.
But yeah, so finally it's nearing the end of the day, and this old man comes up to her, and he doesn't say anything. He doesn't say anything. He's just like, gets her attention and like beckons for her to follow him, and she's just like, okay. And Jason is just thinks this is hilarious.
Yeah.
She's like, all right. And he takes her back to like his little place where he lives, and he gives her some food, and she's like, all right, are you the person I'm looking for? And he doesn't hardly respond, but I think he gives her a little bit of an affirmative. She's like, okay. So in the morning, they head out, and he never says the whole time that they're there. He never says anything.
Doesn't speak a word.
Nothing at all. So they head out into the desert again. Rush doesn't specifically know where they're going. She just knows that they're heading to the Temple of the Sky. Not that she even knows what that means or what she would be looking for, right? This is why she needs a guide.
And Ibrahim doesn't specifically say, this is where we're going. He just goes.
Mm-hmm. And so they
knows
go
the way.
across the desert, and then till they hit some mountains, and they run into a stairway that is carved into the mountain, into the rocks, and it just goes up. And the guy just gestures to it.
And it's obviously not like a well-known mountain pass or anything.
Right.
It is as if this
small.
person knew exactly where to come.
It's little, he just gestures for her to go up. She says, you're not coming with me? And he doesn't say anything again, and so she heads up the stairs. She doesn't know where she's going, but there's not a lot of, paths off. It's these small winding stairs that go up into the mountains.
Very high.
Very high, and there are different things that she has to get past. I just don't remember what they are.
There are traps and rooms, and you passed numerous obstacles to make your way to the interior of the mountain on the stairway. Unlike the team who came here before a long time ago, who came in through the mountain, not on it.
What?
You had some different... Yeah, there are many ways to get here. You came up a slightly different path.
Sure.
So you didn't face some of the things they did face, and you also faced things that they didn't face.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But you finally make it to the interior of the mountain on this path after surviving some deadly traps and scenarios. You're within the Temple of the Sky.
So, at this point, Rasha reaches this area that you can see in the background of the description of the Temple of the Sky right here. It's just a little sort of platform, and waiting for her on this small platform is a Sphinx. A Sphinx.
Gynosphinx, specifically.
I don't know what that means.
It's okay. There are a few different types of Sphinx in D&D.
Gotcha.
And it's one that's a little more powerful than others.
But she answers its riddles correctly. And it lets her pass.
It also happened to notice that the sword at her side.
Yeah. Sure did. And so Rasha heads on up.
And she walks into this... I should pull something else up, it's fine. She walks into a sanctuary in an interior part of the mountain that looks up to the sky. And there, among a vast pile of gold and treasures, is this large, sprawled, partially gold-scaled, partially red-scaled dragon. Kind of red on top, on the back, down to gold in the bottom. And in the middle, it meets where it's sort of like golden embers.
An ombre.
and he's there sleeping, I believe.
I don't remember at all.
I'm pretty sure he was sleeping, because that's usually what he's doing.
Also, before I forget, look at this beautiful character art of Rasha, and that sword that she is holding is the Desert Wind.
Which is, I will say, property of Wizards of the Coast, and an item that they created, and is one of the weapons of legends from the very same book that I use in my world. I changed the story slightly, but that's what it looks like, and it fit just perfectly in, so I used it.
Ooh, nice. Yes, I had commissioned this from a friend of mine. Who's at? I just forgot. Now I feel bad. But you can see her two sabers. Say her two sabers. You can see there, and then she also. So she now is carrying 3 swords all the time. Three swords,
which is not efficient, but is a thing.
It's not like it inhibits her, but
right, it's true.
She's got 3 swords.
It's very true.
Yeah, like look at her with her little short, little brown, brown. It's black hair. Anyways, I'm just really happy with this art. I love it so much.
Who was the artist?
I told you, I just forgot the at. Hold on, I have to go look it up.
Well,
keep talking about him.
So Azidahaka is the dragon of the sky. He is one of the firstborn dragons. Previously to this, other characters had come here, and that's how the Afridi Razim was released into the world. That's why that Rasha went out, and so all of this kind of ties back to previous adventures and previous story that other players had played through, that Rasha had to tie up some loose ends from that. And now that she's returned, though unknowingly returned to the master of the Temple of the Sky, Azidahaka, the firstborn dragon, paladin of Bahamut.
Yes. Art is by Legendary Animist on Instagram. He's a friend of mine.
And he is sleeping. Though I think he awakens as you approach
obviously.
Which is why he sleeps on, that's why most dragons sleep on the treasure, because it's very difficult to stay silent when you're on a bunch of clinky stuff.
Yeah. Yes, it's true. Clinky stuff is hard to be quiet on. Rasha can do it, though, but she wasn't trying to be quiet at this point, because who wants to sneak up on a dragon when they're trying to actually talk to the dragon? And that, yeah.
And I believe you didn't expect it to be a dragon.
I didn't know it was a dragon.
Until it was a dragon.
I was just go to the Temple of the Sky and find Azidahaka, and it's a giant dragon. I don't think Rasha's ever seen. Well, no, she has.
Yeah, but not
a dragon. She's seen dragons, but not like that.
Not a firstborn dragon.
Not like that. This is very intimidating. Very intimidating, to say the least.
What did he say to you?
I don't remember at all.
I don't either. But I know that you spoke. So Azidahaka is actually a very kind soul. And really specifically, he's able to read auras. So he can tell if you are good. Yes,
he's a paladin.
Or evil.
So he's lawful
or not.
Good.
So he knew when she approached that she meant no harm. And he also recognizes the legendary sword Desert Wind, which doesn't appear even once in a generation. So this is a thing that has come back around. He understands that destiny is at work here. That there is a story to this individual, and that this individual would not have shown up without a reason. So he begins to ask why she is here and inquires to her story. And when he finds that Rasha Sharav is definitely the being that he thought she might be, he agrees to teach her how to utilize the sword. And with each of the legendary weapons, there are things that you must do to complete their story and unlock further powers.
Which Jason did not explain to me, and it was probably several sessions later where he's like, no, you can do these things. I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, no, you with this sword, you can do these things. And I was like, well, you didn't tell me that.
I just
put it on my sheet. Just real quiet, like.
Yeah, because, why would the character necessarily know if they didn't make the check? They would intrinsically know how to use the thing, but they wouldn't necessarily know that they met those requirements, even if the being teaching them didn't necessarily tell them this is the requirement. They just made certain that they were taught how to use the sword, the importance of it, and put through scenarios that made certain that it unlocked greater powers in the sword.
So they trained for a decent amount of time.
Yeah, like weeks to a month or more.
Like that. Yeah.
Even maybe longer. Actually, like maybe longer. Because some of the travel, like Rumadan takes a long time to get around if you're on foot. A long time. However, Rasha Sharav is a scout, so she moves a lot more deftly than others, but that still doesn't mean that it's that much more deftly. But you spent quite a lot of time here. More than this little... I know that this time isn't exactly right.
Sure.
But you spent at least a month, if not more, here training with Azida Haka. And I believe at the end, he gave you some things.
He did. But...
because he understood your character.
Yes, and I also told him about the Illithid invasion.
Yep. And he recognized.
He knew. He
didn't know it was going to happen again.
No, but he
remembered
the first time.
And kind of told you a story. A slight, just an allegory, not necessarily the full story. And I remember when they were here before, I fought them off. Brief description of his history, not a full description. Because at that point in time, he didn't want to scare Rasha Sharav, this newly budding hero of destiny, away from her purpose.
Okay, so ignore the things that I don't mention because they're not on her sheet yet at this point. But he said she could have 3 things from his hoard. So the things that I took were the winged boots, which she was around a lot of people that can fly, and she figures it'd be good to have at least that as a little bit of an option. Gave her she picked this belt of physical perfection +6, which gives you +6 to
all your physical
stats, which that's good
for you specifically.
And this headband of mental superiority +6, which gives you +6 to all your mental stats, which is also absolutely fantastic.
He's an ancient and old dragon, and much is in his hoard.
He's got a lot of cool stuff.
And
damn is right.
Rock metal. The Temple of the Sky is a place where evil things are kept locked up, and items of great power are held and preserved for those who need it in the most desperate of times. This was that, and Azida Haka is an ancient being with great wisdom and charisma, and found that this was a time to invest in a being. It's like, I can help you. So you can have this many things, like she said, the 3 things from my hoard. Choose wisely. And Rasha did.
Yes, because I asked Jason. I was like, what is good for me? What does my character need? I was like, because I don't know D&D. Like,
and Azida Haka was willing to explain it to her.
Yes, Azida Haka explained D&D to me. No, I'm kidding. But yes, like she wouldn't necessarily know like what would be the most helpful for her to have.
And I think the most endearing. This is when like Azida Haka and Rasha really. Not just a sword master, right? Like, I think you could tell he really cared, and he wasn't.
Like, I didn't just consider him this enormous like giant dragon who's teaching me about using this very special sword that I have. Like
who never turned into a person to do it.
Right? I never got to see him as a person, although like out of character, I got to hear the description of what he looked like in a person, and I was like, anyways. But, so, I mean, it took some time, but as they spent, probably a whole month together, Rasha got to know what he was like and become more comfortable with him and not view him just as this intimidating teacher sort of figure, but as almost even as a friend. And that continues even later.
And they
we had
develop
some
like
really
a true
good
bond.
scenes too.
Yeah,
Later,
absolutely.
we'll talk about those later. But it was very cool.
Yeah, because this wasn't the time where he gives you something else. Right, exactly. That happens after. So once the training is over and he feels that Rasha has learned all that she can learn from him at this moment in time, he sends her on a quest. And he asks her, or he doesn't ask her. Well, he does. It's
he
like
asks her.
Yeah.
Not that she would say no.
Right.
But
Exactly. It wasn't like a, hey, friend, would you do this? It's more of a, I understand this needs to happen, but at the same time, I don't want you to, it's not a must. It's a respect. Because they definitely have grown in respect for each other over this period of time.
So he requests that she go to each city in Rumadan and make sure that they know everything that they can about the Elith invasion so that Rumadan can be as prepared as possible. And Rasha says, absolutely, of course, I will do this. This is my country, my home, I care. Yes, of course.
And Azida Haka knows that this will teach her about the other city-states and those who rule and the people there. She will learn so much about where she is from that perhaps her experiences, he doesn't know, right? But if her experiences were only within a certain area of Rumadan, then you would have not a full view of what this entire, they're not really a nation, right? But a region, the cultures that exist there. But going to visit each of these places and give this urgent information and communicate with these people gives her the ability to understand the place that she will end up protecting, which he knows is going to be her purpose once she comes to his doorstep with that sword, though Rasha may not know that at the moment. And again, a thing that an ancient and wise dragon isn't necessarily going to just say, hey, you're going to do all these cool things, right? Because, like, why? Why try to put that on someone when you can just make the suggestion of, hey, try this. You're going to try the thing? You will learn. You will gain experience. And that's what D&D is all about, gaining experience.
So once they're done with the training, Rasha heads back down the way that she came, because Avital looked at this map and said, I want to end up at home in Riyadh, so I may as well go back to Moadina first and then just go around from there. So Rasha heads back to Moadina. She gets down to the bottom of the stairs. It's been a month. The guy's not there. She doesn't find him at his home either in Moadina when she goes back there just to check. So she doesn't know what happened. He may be gone. He may have gone somewhere else.
You never found out what happened, right?
Never found out.
So what happened to him? He fulfilled his life's goal and he passed on. His life's goal was to lead the next desert wind to Azida Haka. He and his ancestors had been born into that goal, and whenever it would come about, this is a story and an idea that had been passed through his family for generations, and he was blessed by the Ameshaspentas to be allowed for the new desert wind to arrive. That was his entire purpose for living.
You make me cry.
I'm not trying to,
No,
it's
not
just
in a bad way. I cry a lot about a lot of things. So she heads back to Moadina. And she knows she's gotta try and talk to the ruler here. So she goes and
you head to the Black
Temple, I guess, because that's where the ruler is, the Black Sheik of Moadina, and he's the leader of the Temple of, what is it?
Azkar.
His
name is
an evil god.
Kazak Ben Daoud. Yeah, he's not necessarily a nice guy, but at this point in time, there's also no reason for any of them to
be antagonistic towards each other, even though
it's just
an evil guy, technically.
So he's not an idiot.
She manages, I guess, to be diplomatic enough that she gets in to see the guy.
Enough, because you have the sword.
Yeah, and I have the sword.
And he can recognize that and go, okay, the desert wind. I will listen.
She tells him about the Illithid. He
thanks you, really.
I was like,
all
okay,
right, good
thank
to
you.
know. I'll tell the people who need to know.
She, I think, hangs out for a couple hours so people, his scribes, can copy the book down.
Yep.
And then she heads on her way. After Moadina, she heads to Al Udet.
Which takes some time.
Of course, that's a good chunk of desert. As
Traveling by foot.
Like she's fast, but
that still takes
a
month.
It's a lot of time
between the there and back.
Mm-hmm. So Al Udet it's a neutral city, and it's more magical than any of the cities in Rubidan she's been to so far. Not that she knows anything about magic, but it has a wizard's tower. I guess she can see that, right?
And the patron deity is Zarathustra, who is the
Rumidani god of magic.
Yeah, the Amishaspentas of magic.
Mm-hmm.
The gods before the one true god are the Amishaspentas. We kind of covered this a little before.
We did a little bit.
And the temple of Zarathustra is here. Through she's easily able to see Ishmael Abudin, who is the ruler of Al Udet. He is also the head of the wizard's tower of Rumidan, specifically.
Yes.
And
he's the Sultan of Al Udet.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And he welcomes you. He's not a bad guy, not a good guy. He is a guy.
A lawful neutral guy.
Yeah. When you speak with him, he already knows because he is a master wizard. He was actually there in Reser when it happened. And he's like, "Oh yes, we appreciate you coming. It's not without its pleasantries and its courtly necessities, because he's a lawful gentleman." So they speak briefly, and he's like, "Thank you for coming. We understand, and we are preparing the best we can."
Mm-hmm.
This was a very quick time. It's a very short amount of time in Al Udet.
Oops. So, at this point, I looked at the map and said, well, I'll have to go back up, so I'm not going to go to Carnoasis first. I'm going to go to Asarudin first, the farthest point.
Which Jason was sad about, because I was excited for anyone to go to Carnoasis.
We get there, though.
I know we do.
We'll get there.
But I was like, okay.
It's such a super cool place. So, she heads...
Though you do, as you're going to Asarudin, you do run across.
Oh, I was about to...
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Because you're not on a road, necessarily.
Right. Rasha's out in the middle of the desert, heading to Asarudin.
And Rumidan is known for slavers. There is a specific group of them called the Hashin.
Mm-hmm. Because Rasha doesn't know that, right? About the Hashin?
Not specifically.
Right. She knows there's slavery, and she's not a fan.
Right.
Right?
But slavery exists in Rumidan.
A good person. Alright. So she's traveling, and she comes across... She kind of sees in the distance, she sees... like a slave caravan.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, So she, waits till they, settle down for the night, and she sneaks into their camp. So she's looking around in the camp, because she wants to see if she can let anyone free. I mean, she doesn't, she can't pick locks, but she's, right, because she's not a rogue, but she still wants to see what she can do. So she sees that there are slaves, but she sees one particular captive that they have catches her attention, because it is, I've just forgot the word.
A minotaur.
It's a minotaur.
Which are rarely seen on the western coast of Rumidan.
I don't know if Rasha's ever seen a minotaur before.
But on the eastern coast, and the eastern side of Rumidan that is near to Erebor, minotaur exist and are often used as slaves. Or are, pirates.
So, but obviously it's big, right? And she's like, okay, well maybe if I let this guy out, then he can do something about the rest of them. So she sneaks up to this guy, and I think he's asleep.
Yeah,
I think
he was,
and has to very carefully wake him up, which she does, and he doesn't make any noise. And she's like, okay, She's like, I'm here to help you. I want to try and let you free. You know, he's got chains. He acknowledges this. She doesn't have... Right, she can't pick locks or anything, so she pulls one of her swords out and just...
Bam!
She's like, she knows this is going to make noise and it's going to set something off. So she breaks the chains on him. And he, you know, rises up and he's like, I've got this. Like, he's going to take help. He's going to break the other slaves out. And so she leans in, and this is something that Avital did on a whim because she thought it would be funny. She leans in and she says, if anyone asks who set you free, tell them it was the desert wind, and then she runs off as fast as she can, which is really fast.
And thus begins the new legend.
Like, this is the true
of
beginning
the
desert wind, and I did not do that on purpose. I didn't know at all.
It was totally great. She has the sword, she is the sword, she is the legend, she is destiny. It all worked perfectly. Perfectly.
Oops, I'm wiggling that. I'm like tapping my feet on the floor
wonderful.
and wiggling things.
Like, I was super giddy when it happened. I was like, yes, that legend that will actually pass on completely. Yes, completely. This is amazing. Please do more of that.
It's so funny. Like, it just...
But after you let the slaves free, you whisked away into the night and continued on towards Asarudin.
So, you know, that encounter happened somewhere in the desert here. Maybe around here. And then the slaves probably ran off to Carnoasis. Because it's a cool place. We'll get there later. It's a really cool place. It's a really, really, really cool place. It's so cool. Anyways. So she heads off to Asarudin. Let me open up Asarudin.
So arriving there, Rasha goes in and
it feels... That's such a pretty picture. It feels slightly more familiar to her in one way because it's a port city as well. Just like her home of Riyadh is.
It's just not quite as...
It's not the same.
Not
the same feel, you know. Her city is a good city. This is a neutral city. There is slavery here. There is not slavery in Riyadh.
This city is all about trade and anything that will increase trade and anything that will support trade, and they don't care. Not good, not evil, just will it sell? We're into it.
Ignore, if you can read what's on the screen, ignore the part about the ruler.
Oh yeah, that's not right now.
Who was the ruler at this point? Do you remember his name?
I don't. It's in another document. I still have it because he's deceased after this point.
Is this a single player RP? This is us telling about what happened during Jason's D&D campaign. To my character specifically, of Rasha Sharav, who is a human dervish dancer.
It's not a single-player role-playing game. There were about 15 players at the end, and over this period of time, they all went to do different things, so I ran different sessions with them, either individually or in groups, and focused on one character for a portion of the session, and then went to another character for the portion of the session, and sometimes their stories intersected, sometimes they didn't at all. But it sort of gave everyone an idea of like what was going on in the world, and that the world was like this living, breathing place that was going on, whether they existed in it or not.
Yeah. So she gets to Asarudin, and so she goes to the... Is there, a palace? Yeah, there's like a palace.
Yeah, that's
to find the ruler.
Right.
The ruler, whose name we don't remember. But that doesn't really matter. Well. So... She goes to talk to this person.
He and his council were meeting, and it's like the harbor master and the master at arms. You don't necessarily know that that's what these people were, but it was basically Rasha comes into a council meeting, and they agree to see her, and something's a little fishy in that meeting.
But so she tells them about the Illithid, right? And they acknowledge that. But then they asked for her help. like a some sort of patrol had gone out.
Mm-hmm.
You're really gonna have to help me here. Some sort of patrol had gone out, and only one of them had come back, and there was something really wrong with him, like something really off.
Says you negotiated your way into the court of the mirror. You relay your tale. A cleric of Ozkar. Well, okay. Yes.
Oh yeah, okay. So there was. So she told her story, and there was. Please, help me as to read
Okay.
that. That sounds awesome. You two sound like you know a ton about gaming. Would you be interested in being on the gaming podcast that I host?
Sure. Send us a link. That sounds cool, man.
Also,
Appreciate it.
if you want to, you can. My socials are pretty much all Avital Elizabeth. So if you can also message me on my other stuff too. Anyways.
So what Rasha doesn't know is going on in the background is the cleric of Ozkar in Asarudin hired an Elithid to kill the Mir and take his place.
That was the leader? The ruler?
Yes, the leader was the Mir. And aid the Talreskath. Well,
don't know what that is.
The Elithid...
Oh, ha ha. Ha. You're hilarious.
Oh. Yeah, well,
I
totally.
don't know who that is.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Come on.
I don't know
that
whose
sounds
Twitch
great.
that is. I'm sorry. They just posted a link to theestablishedfacts.com, which is a podcast that I am on.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's why it was a...
But I don't remember who this is.
This was a joke. It was probably a...
Yes, it's a joke.
But we'll totally be on.
But I don't remember
anytime.
who Papa Dragon is.
So the
Oh, it's Dawn.
What's up? The Elithid grafted assassin posing as a gesture was killed. And at some point in time, Rasha was asked to go out. Oh, that's what it was. You were asked to go out to the desert and find this group of druids who are causing them problems. Because they're rarely druids in Ramadan, right? But desert druids exist.
Wait, no.
Yeah. See?
I wasn't... find the druids?
Or no, that's not what it was. I'm sorry, I got that wrong.
Yeah,
Not
that's
the druids. You're right, there was something and I kind of forget. But they asked you to do something, but that didn't actually even happen. Like, I don't think that happened then.
Well...
Because you called your friends in.
Someone came back and was in a weird... They were very weird. There's something very weird with them.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, there was...
Because they asked you to go do something.
No, they didn't at that point ask me to super go do anything yet. But there was something really wrong with this guy.
It was the jester.
No.
Yes.
That's when I called the people?
Yeah. It was the jester.
But it says Rasha then.
Yeah, right.
After
but
that.
You didn't... Right. It's okay. Don't worry about... It was the jester who was weird. You're like, that's weird. He's acting weird.
No, it wasn't like that someone was just acting weird. They were like in this funky, like, catatonic, almost weird, soulless, something sort of state. I thought it was really...
Yeah.
No.
Because you were at the full court. It wasn't like you were just meeting with the people. Like, it was full court and you were in there. And it was the jester that was very weird.
No. It was someone that had, like, come back and...
Yes.
Yeah, no, but I thought there was, like, something wrong with someone that we had to fix. And that's why I called people.
Yes.
Whatever. Wait, an NPC asked a PC to do something? Hey, it happens. Anyways, so, at this point, this is... So, before Rasha left her friends, at one point, she was talking to Graven. This is a while back. I don't think I mentioned this before. She was talking to Graven, which is one of the other player characters.
I think it was at the Destino Festival.
Marvel. And she's...
Hey.
She was talking about how she was worried about how once she left, that she just wouldn't ever see anyone again, because she's not magical. She can't contact people easily. She doesn't know where they are. She's like, how am I going to be able to keep in contact with you? And so Gravin says, I can help with that. And so just boop, gives her what out of character we call a cell phone.
In character, it's a stone of sending, although it didn't look like that.
Yes, it looked kind of more like a cell phone, sort of.
Yeah, because they were from Erewhon, and they
had a bit more
Machina.
mechanical. Gravin. Not Gravin. Gravin. With a V.
Replace those B's with 2 V's and the I with an E, and that's totally it.
Yep, and there's 2 A's. I think. I thought there was. Anyways, it doesn't matter. And so Gravin makes her a stone of sending, but it's basically, it sort of looks like a very simple cell phone that can send one message to Gravin, because he has the other one. So Rasha has a connection to Gravin, one message to him per day. So Rasha is here in Esterudin, and something very strange is happening. So she messages Gravin and kind of relays a little bit about what is happening. It's like, I don't know what's happening here. Do you think you would maybe want to help? And this is not... Jason didn't exactly plan for this.
Sure, I can help, says Gravin.
We're at game, and everyone is there. All the other players are there. Or, not all of them, but a lot of them are there. So, Gravin, 15 words or less, I think it's 25 for sending, right?
Yep,
25 words. Yeah. So Gravin contacts a bunch of their other friends.
Somebody else was already there that they didn't know about.
Yeah, but that's...
But Nanashi, Gravin, Treskin, and Stanyek, I believe, were the ones that they... Yeah, that was it. That was them.
Yeah. Oh, they upped the character limit. But yeah, so Gravin reaches out to several of the other friends, and then they all teleport there. And Rasha's like, oh!
So party of heroes show up.
And the court's just like, what?
WTF? And the cleric of Oscar's like, oh crap.
So the jester then, I think, tries to kill somebody.
The mirror.
He
succeeds actually in killing the mirror.
He kills the mirror. The players kill him, and They
also kill the cleric of Oscar.
Yeah.
You guys do that?
Do we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the reason why the slide says what it does afterwards is because
we haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah, you guys got rid of most of their.
And when they kill the jester, something comes out of the back of his head, which is a weird kill or kill not. There's no try. That's right. There is a weird black, sluggish looking thing, sort of, and Rasha stabs that.
Which she didn't realize then, but it was an illithid graft.
Like it was like a mind worm sort of thing. Gross.
So the illithid were here. She was running around Rumadan to warn them, and they were already here, trying to take over the city.
Yeah.
And the cleric of Oscar was a fool to trust them. Of course, it's Oscar.
But yeah, we discovered that it was the cleric.
He was a black priest.
The place was defiled with shadow magic. No, so...
It's a black priest.
They sent us to go find out what happened. We went out into the desert, and when we came back was when all the stuff went down.
Yes.
Yeah. The mirror is dead, and a lot of people are important, and they scried to find the priest and the harbor master signing documents, and we teleported in there, killed the cleric, and captured the harbor master. And then someone dominated the harbor master and get him to give info about how to run the city to one of the random clerks that are around, which actually happened to be another player character in disguise, because that's what he does. The professor does that. Anyways. So, at this point, a lot of the rulership of this city is dead. And they're talking to the
harbor master, who's the only one of
and he's just like, alive. You're not gonna... You can't do anything with this city. This is a Rumadani city, you know? And you won't be able to rule this city. And the other players are like, and they point to Rasha, and Rasha's just like,
this is when you become a part of the Royal Flush Gang.
hi. Someone killed a girl, so you need to find the Stargate.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So Rasha ends up becoming the ruler of this city. Like, it's... Rasha doesn't want that. She's just like, oh, I have to rule this city now. She's like, but I have to go. I need to leave. I still have things to do.
And they're like, but you're the only Rumidani person here and the only person we can trust, and we can't have this place fall under Illithid rule or fall under Aliskar's rule or have... Who else knows what's going to happen to it?
And this is the point where Treskin is like, Rasha, he's like, you're part of the Royal Flush Gang now. She's like, what? He's like, no, you're in. And he hands her a playing card.
Yep.
It's a Joker. And he's like, you're in now. And she's like, she never really knows what he's talking about, honestly.
Okay, so at this moment in time, Jason had no idea what my players were talking about, because I was like, okay, whatever. I'm just going to let him say things because his character's crazy, and we're fine. Later, I figured it out, but I was like, what the hell is this Royal Flush Gang thing you're talking about? And I realized it's the thing the players want to do. I was like, okay, whatever, cool.
Yep, so Rasha keeps that card for a very long time, even though she doesn't really know what it means, but...
And they also have an idea of who they can come here and...
Yes, but her friends assured her, there's like, we know someone that we're pretty sure will be able to come here and run the city for you while you are gone.
Yep.
And Rasha's like, okay.
And they go, and they get him, and so they do...
Yeah, just pull a fourth doctor and say, I'll be right back, and while I'm gone, you're in charge. That's essentially what happened.
Exactly what happened, actually.
So the other players, they know someone, he's over in some other city, but they go and find him and talk to him, and his name is Shlomo.
Yep. And like...
And they present the situation to him. He's a businessman.
Well, the city. Run a place. Sounds great. I can do what I want and just pay you guys off because you invested? Cool.
But yes, so then they work out with a deal for Shlomo to come and run the city for Rasha. He takes 50% of the gross profits of the city, and Nanashi sinks 5% into the city and 5% to himself. Gravin took 5% for him and 5% invested into a temple of Hieratus. So Gravin, at this point, starts a temple of Hieratus in the city of Asarudan, which is really funny because this is a temple to a god of magic for
a completely
different pantheon.
But there's already a god of magic in Rumidan.
Gravin brings his people in. He's like, nope. His name is Shlomo. Is he a turtle? No. No, he's a human. Yep, just a human. But he knows how to run businesses and cities and things, apparently.
He does. He's got a big giant jewel on a turban and with a feather in it, and is very... he's a merchant prince and knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
It's an old character from another player that they're not playing anymore.
And
that they only play occasionally when that character comes around.
Right. Staniak took his 10%, and Treskin took 10% too. Rasha says, no, I don't want any of this money. I don't want it.
Because the money comes from slavery, mostly.
But she is the ruler of the city now. So once that situation is...
a good place to end.
What?
It's a good place to end.
I know.
Okay. And so with...
I'm going to put it on my beautiful art of Rasha. It's so lovely.
With the Illithid plot in Asarudan overthrown by the players... and them now investing in a place in Rumidan where they have some sort of say and control of. That's where that session ended. And that's probably where we should end today.
But yeah, so Rasha has suddenly become the ruler of a city, which is like a whole, because it's Rumidan, it's like a city-state kind of thing. It's like a tiny country, running a tiny country, essentially. And
it's 5 months after she initially set out from Riyadh. I'm sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah.
So she's already been running around the desert for like 5 months. It's pretty crazy.
Seen 4 cities.
Yeah, she's seen more of her country than she has in her entire life. But
more than many of the people who live there have ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, because if you live in a desert, you're probably going to stay in the city that can sustain you well, right? Unless you are specifically a
scout or a ranger or someone who is
nomad,
Caravaner.
caravaner type person. But yeah. So we end today with Rasha suddenly being a ruler of a city. They can't see that, never mind. Sorry. That's where the next actual document starts up. But yeah. And again, I absolutely adore this art that my friend, Legendary Animist, on Instagram, and I believe is on Facebook as well, has made for me of Rasha with the legendary sword Desert Wind, which is property of wizards.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That is not my own thing. Mm-hmm. That is definitely a thing that was created for storytellers to use, and I did it.
Mm-hmm. Gogo Bordello just listened. Not type of music's but good on you for supporting music artists you like. Yeah.
Yeah. That Gypsy Punks.
I was like, why Gogo Bordello? But I forgot you were in the shirt. Yeah.
You are the only light there is for yourself, my friend. That's them, not me. But I believe it. Thank you all very much for joining us. We hope you enjoyed this rendition of RPG Story Time.
Next time, we get to talk about the bestest, funnest city in Ramadan ever. We get to talk about Karn Oasis.
After an ordeal.
Yes, but it will happen next time.
It will, it totally will. And if you want us on your podcast, just yell. We'll totally do it.
Love you too, Don. Woo, that's right. Yeah.
Take care, everybody.
We haven't podcasted in a while, Don. I need to just post this content on our page so that there'll be content.
Do it, podcast. We'll be on. We're all about it. We can figure it out. We know the ways. Take care, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your week. It's good to see you. And we hope you join us next week.
Yep, it's been fun. And we'll see you all next time.